Hey there. Welcome to A Higher Dimension. I'm Gloria Danvers from Gloria Danvers Hypnosis in Orlando, Florida, and I'm your host for A Higher Dimension. As a hypnotherapist, I work with everyday people who are having extraordinary experiences in the fascinating world of past life regression, therapeutic hypnosis, psychic abilities, spiritual awakenings, and paranormal encounters. Every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., join me and my guests as we explore their powerful stories and extraordinary journeys together. And sometimes it's just you and me. Solo episodes where I dive deep into metaphysical insights, spiritual concepts, and mind-expanding ideas that I think you'll find both useful and fascinating. Not only will you hear incredible stories, but we'll talk about what comes next. What happens after these life-shifting moments? How do they change you? Who are you now? What truths have you uncovered? We'll explore big questions through deep, eye-opening conversations that you don't want to miss. If you're interested in working with me and having your own transformational hypnosis experience, you can reach me at gloriadanvershypnosis.com. If you're here, chances are you're ready for something different, ready to explore yourself in the higher realms. So shoot me an email or book a free consultation. Maybe it's time for you to shake up what you think you know about the world, about yourself, who you've been, who your friends really are, and where you're headed. You can catch A Higher Dimension on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podchaser, Spotify, YouTube, and iHeart.com. But right now, let's sit back, relax, and uncover the hidden depths of the human experience right here on A Higher Dimension. When I first began creating A Higher Dimension, my focus was on past life experience, psychic experience, and the paranormal. But lately I've been guided, as I'm sure you've noticed, to begin offering different views on spirituality, the human experience, duality, and how they are not separate, but part of the intricate dance that we are doing with the universe and with ourselves as multidimensional beings. I will still offer firsthand accounts of the amazing journeys that I get to experience with my clients and friends, but now through a wider lens, one that embraces not just where we've been, but who we are becoming. Hello, you beautiful soul travelers. It's Gloria from A Higher Dimension, and today I want to speak some truth that might sting just a little before it soothes. Because I've been thinking about this topic for a long time. And I've seen this particular thing really too often, even in the deepest of seekers, and even more in the loftiest of gurus, from lifelong metaphysical practitioners to well-intentioned newbies. We use our spirituality to hide, to construct a persona that reflects only what we want others to see. How many times have you gone on social media and followed someone who has been touted as a highly spiritual teacher, a person to emulate, only to find out that they absolutely do not practice what they preach and are, in fact, hot messes? They know the talk, and they talk it very well, but as for the rest, they use their healing tools like armor. They want to appear elevated to their peers, so they bypass the blood of the wound and pretend they're whole. Because being raw makes people uncomfortable, even themselves. And this, my darlings, is what we call spiritual bypassing. It's no shame on them. We are all human. But when your own humanity is something to erase and not something to acknowledge, you disconnect from your soul's deepest work, and you trade true healing for performance. Today I'm going to talk about what happens when love and light become a mask, and why real healing can't happen until the mask comes off and the humanity is revealed. Spiritual bypassing is when we use spiritual beliefs or practices to avoid pain, confrontation, or emotional honesty. When we erase or stuff down our real emotions to offer the world a smooth and enlightened state of being. And this is what it looks like. When you're saying it's all love, instead of setting a boundary, telling yourself to forgive before you've even acknowledged the hurt, pretending you're over something because you read a book about it. It sounds like everything is in divine order, which it is, although not in the way that you might think. Don't be negative. Raise your frequency. Your shock and pain are unworthy emotions. This is just my karma. I shouldn't feel angry, without understanding the true nature of karma. And so many other soft spiritual platitudes that offer peace without the work. But underneath all that softness is a big silence, a refusal to give rupture a voice. And that silence is where the wound festers. Let's get real in spirit for just a moment. When you bypass your emotions, you don't just delay healing, you interrupt your soul contract. You did not come here to float gracefully over your hurts, your suffering, and your humanness. You came here to experience, to feel, to remember who you are through every high and low, to let no part of you be stuffed down or undiscovered. When you gloss over the hard stuff with platitudes, you miss the initiation. So avoiding your anger, that's avoiding your boundary power. Swallowing your grief, that's skipping the sacred mourning that clears the path for rebirth. Ignoring your jealousy, that's ignoring the part of you crying for acknowledgement and direction. Bypassing does not make you enlightened. It makes you energetically fragmented. You're half in and half out, polished on the surface, but untended underneath. And eventually, the soul rebels. Your body starts speaking what your mouth won't. Your life starts cracking when the truth isn't allowed in. I've had clients come to me glowing with enlightenment in all the right spiritual language, but underneath they're still bleeding, still carrying the weight of betrayals, old grief, childhood wounds that they've never dared to speak out aloud. A woman was told that she needed to let go of her abusive ex because she chose this life lesson. But was the lesson she learned the lesson she was empowered by? She wasn't empowered by that idea. She was silenced by it. A man who told himself he had no right to be angry because everyone's doing the best they can. Meanwhile, he hadn't spoken to his father in 10 years, and his body was riddled with back pain. He wanted to move past that, to take the high road, but his body was screaming at him to acknowledge the real cost. We're not here to be good. We are here to be whole. Being spiritual does not mean smiling through trauma. It means reclaiming every single part of you, even the parts that rage, grieve, or fall apart at 3 a.m. in the morning. Why is bypassing so common? Because we were trained, even in spiritual spaces, that high vibration equals no hard emotions. To be the still reflection, the placid, glassy pond. We are taught that being calm is being advanced, that holding space means staying silent and pleasant. It's not your fault. But now that you know better, you get to choose differently. Spirituality is not a mood. It's a path. And that path winds through the caves of shadow, not just through the peaks of bliss. I remember a time when I was going through some serious heartbreak, and someone said, "Well, your soul chose this." And I thought, You know what? Maybe my soul did choose this, but my human self is bleeding and she needs to cry and howl and rage before she can grow. And so I let myself feel the suffering, the betrayal, the anguish, because when the cut is that deep, it can't be patted on the head and told to just let go. You have to go in before you can come out. And it can be very dark in there. It's no wonder that people choose to bypass that darkness in the name of light. But as we have discussed before in previous episodes, that darkness is your shadow teacher, and it must be acknowledged and addressed. And yeah, we know, not pretty, but the necessary twinning of the yin and the yang. This is where we find what we are really looking for. So what does real spiritual healing look like? It looks like telling the truth, even when it's messy. It looks like letting yourself cry without explaining it. It looks like naming your rage without shaming it. It looks like feeling your resentment and asking, what boundary did I abandon? It's not always pretty, but it's pure. It's you, unmasked, unfiltered, and unafraid to feel. Healing is not about perfect alignment. It's about aligned honesty. So let's do a little short guided soul speak moment. And I do want to take a moment to say that if you are driving or operating heavy machinery, please come back to this part later because your inner work deserves your undivided attention. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Blow out. Lower your shoulders. And now imagine that you're sitting in a sacred circle, not with your guides, but with your shadow, your anger, your grief, your shame, your jealousy. They're all here, not to scare you, but to show you something. And so in that circle, ask them, what have I been pretending not to feel? What truth have I spiritualized instead of honoring? Where am I still hiding behind the light? And breathe in and blow out and let whatever comes up be okay. And now you can say to yourself and the various emotions that are sitting in that circle with you, I honor my pain. I welcome my shadow. I'm not going to bypass my truth. I'm going to bless it. And sit with that for a moment. Now take one last breath. Wiggle your fingers. Open your eyes and come back. You don't have to pretend to be fine. You don't have to sparkle through your suffering. Your shadow is not the enemy. It is the doorway. The next time someone tells you to just raise your vibration, you have my permission, not that you need it, to say, I am raising it by being real, by being honest, by letting my light and shadow sit at the same table. That's not just spiritual. That's sacred. It's bringing your unique humanness to a place that's free of guilt, free of shame, and giving your soul what it came here for, the real, raw human experience. Your authenticity can set you free because each part of you has a place, and it is your gift to experience all of it. So until next time, stay rooted, stay wild, be who you are, and don't be afraid to feel what's true. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that I've managed to pique your interest, raise your curiosity, give you something to think about, teach you something that you didn't know before, or send you down a major rabbit hole If you're curious about what I do, shoot me an email. Go on to my website, gloriadanvers.com, and book a free consultation. Let's discover something about you that you didn't know. I'll be back next week. And until then, stay curious and stay open to all the things that come in for you in a higher dimension.